Hey collectors, welcome to Star Wars Collected. I'm Jonathan. If you're new here, I hope you consider sticking around and subscribing. But if you've been here before, I want you to hit that like button like you're an Ewok smashing in the head of a scout trooper. Because what I have for us today is the MYC AT-ST, the big version. All right, I've had this in my collection here for a couple weeks now. Haven't unboxed it, haven't had the time. Today is the day. Let's open this guy up and let's do it in honor of the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. All right, collectors, you may or may not be familiar with MYC. MYC has been on my radar for a long time. They make a lot of statues, which you could consider to be kind of in the scale of a sideshow premium pieces. And I've looked at them and I've liked them for a long time, and a lot of my Star Wars collecting buddies all heavily endorsed them, but I just never did the statues. However, NYC recently, within the last year or so, has really started to concentrate on ships. I love me some ships. I have collected some of the Hasbro versions of these ships in the past as sort of a cheap way to have a model. A lot of times I would go and repaint them. Sometimes I would go in and correct some things, adding some extra little bits of plastic here and there, or taking some things away. But I am very excited that MYC is a premium maker, is making things like ships and statues. Now, this box is huge because what's inside of it is also huge. It's also extremely heavy, so I might have to put it on the ground and then bring some things back up for us, but I just wanted to give you guys a sense of scale as to how big this boy is. So, Return of the Jedi was my favorite film growing up, and I was just lucky enough to see it in the re-release here that happened not so long ago, and you know, it's a great film, and I still love it so much. We have a little thing on top here that says MYC Collector Scale, Model ST for collectors by collectors. All right. So this is sort of an inner box. So I'm gonna put this on the ground here and pull that box out. Oh, we have the inner box here. It's not a whole lot smaller than the outer box, but it is a little bit smaller. And on top here, it says Model ST for collectors by collectors, and I am excited to open this up. So MYC stuff is technically not licensed, which is why it's Model ST and not AT-ST. And like I said, they've made a lot of really cool things over the years, but they are making lots of ships right now, and I am so excited about that. This is technically my second piece from them. The first piece that I think I ordered from them, I was lucky enough to pick up someone else's pre-order that decided not to follow through with it. And on top here, you can see all these nicely little padded pieces. So I moved my little close-up camera in a little bit closer so that you guys can see it. So you'll have to forgive that it's in the shot when I cut to this one, but that way you guys can actually see all the things that are going on in here, because there is a lot going on in here. So we're just gonna take this apart slowly and purposefully. Like I said, this is my second MYC piece, but this is the first one I've unboxed. So I actually have the TIE Fighter as well, but it's just been sitting in the box since I got it, because right now when I take something out of the box to show you guys, for the most part I have to put it right back in that box because my collection gallery is not built yet, and I want everything to be, you know, nice and safe. So I haven't been doing it, but I was talking to some guys at Celebration and they said I really should open this up just to make sure that everything is as it should be. And so far I am loving what I'm seeing. A lot of good little details here and there. Now this statue I believe is made out of polystone, which is the same thing that you're gonna find that Sideshow uses for theirs as well. So we have a foot so far, and the turret that sits underneath the chin. Here is the other foot here. Right there. So many pieces, and it's so big I barely have enough room to put these things anywhere once I take them out. Now if you guys have been watching this channel for a while, you'll know that I tend to love scale. I think the bigger the better. Maybe that's because I'm 6'7" and that's just what I'm used to. I think the bigger the better on things like this. Wow, look how big this is, guys. This is so cool. You know, like I said, this piece is a little bit more expensive than what I tend to pay for things. I'm a big secondary market kind of guy, but NYC stuff always seems to go for a premium on the secondary market. There are a few ships that he made earlier on. His name's Michael, he's awesome. If you're watching, you're awesome. But I missed those, so kind of playing a little bit of catch up here, but some of those earlier models, he made them, they're gone, and it's unlikely I'll ever be able to add those to my collection just because of the price that they're going for on the secondary market. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Holy cow. Look at this. Guys, this thing is incredible and it's enormous. Now NYC offered this in 2 different scales. This is the larger one. They also offered one that is, I think 1/48th scale. I could be wrong on that, which is a little bit more like studio scale size. Now, I ordered this one because I was just like, this is one of my favorite ships. I think this is super cool. I love the size. I do have a little bit of regret. I do in some ways wish I ordered the smaller one because so many of the other pieces, things like the AT-AT that I also have on order from NYC, those are gonna be in that scale instead. So this guy's gonna be a little oversized compared to a lot of the other ships. That's the only downside of having it in such a big size. Otherwise, I'm in love with the fact that this is just going to be enormous in my collection. I mean, look at the size. I mean, its head is like the size of my head, right? So I think we've completed the top part and we'll slide that piece out. So now we're going another level deep here. So here's another foam piece with all of the little bits and pieces that we're going to be using. And then at the very bottom, we have the base. So let me go ahead and put this down. We'll grab the base out of here. Oh, mama. Is big. So for now, we'll get rid of this big box. So this is the base here. So I really like the bases that NYC is using. They are big, hefty pieces that I think present really, really well. The glass on top that's been cut looks really nice and makes it a little bit easier to keep clean. A simple wipe will do that most of the time. And now we can kind of build our model. So I'm actually going to go ahead and take these pieces, which are already kind of ready to go, and drop them in. I might have to pull them back out to put this together properly, but that's okay. This was the second layer here. So we have all kinds of extra pieces in this. So this is the left leg and it keys into the back like that and then falls into the piece there. And then of course we have the other leg here and same thing, pull this out, little key in the back, bam. All kinds of little goodies here. Now, I don't even really know where everything goes and how it all goes together. Maybe there's an instruction booklet that I'm missing. Maybe the instructions are online and I'm just too excited and eager to even stop and look for it. This is the little side piece on the head. If I know anything about the AT-ST toy that I had growing up, that is going to be the basis of most of my assembly here. So hopefully those guys at Kenner and Hasbro got it right back in the day. They are different shapes on the inside and there's a magnet in there. I love the use of magnets when it comes to statues. It always makes it so that you can be pretty darn sure that you are giving it the tightest fit. So one of these legs would have to come out for me to put the body into it here. I guess the body into it this way. But I'm gonna keep going with maybe some of these smaller pieces to see if I can get us a little bit further down the road. This goes on the underbelly, I recognize that piece. This is a toe. And that, I'm guessing, is one of the like eyelids, or yeah, we'll call it an eyelid. And we have another gun here that goes on the side of the head, and another shield, a tube, another tube. I'm pulling out these parts as if they're just like really nothing, but the paint and detail on them is really very good. I'm very impressed. Like I said, this is my first NYC. Their statues have always been impressive in the past, but I just haven't pulled the trigger on any of their statues. Just making sure I got all the little pieces here before we start to assemble. We do have a little toe piece here. I'm not sure which side it goes on. I think a lot of the assembly is going to be on the physical head as well as this base piece here. This might be the only statue I've ever gotten before that is so big that having two people assembling it would probably be very helpful. All right, so that piece is in now, this sort of, I don't even know, the body, I guess, if you consider this to be the neck, and then we've got the head to go. And let's see here, we've got a couple pieces in here that we need to add. So this is a sort of a shin guard type thing, and I'm not sure if it goes in on this side or goes in over here. It seems to be rejecting it over there. So it seems to go in on this side. And I've got the same over here. And again, there's magnets in all of these pieces that I'm using so far, which is really just the way to do it. I see that I've put them upside down. There we go, that's a much snugger fit. That feels good. These pieces I know go on the underside because that is how they worked on my chicken walker growing up. God, I haven't said chicken walker in a long time. I've gotten so clinical and proper and in canon with you know, calling it an AT-ST. This is a chicken walker. Let's bring up the big head here. Okay, so I can see some spots here in the bottom. Let's go ahead and install these eyelids on here. I'm gonna make sure I can grab this in a safe way. So these eyelids are gonna go on here like so, and then we'll get this one in here. That. Perfect. This piece, which I believe goes on this side. Yep. And then we have this piece, which goes right here. Okay. And on the bottom here, we have all kinds of keyholes, and we have these little tubes. So we're gonna go ahead and plug these in where it makes sense. That one plugs in here and plugs in over there. And then what about you? You go right here and plug in underneath there. The big piece here goes in right there, and that is it. Here we go. Are you guys ready? Collectors, there you have it. This is the MYC AT-ST collector scale model. You know, there's a lot of good paint application and things like that here and there. There are some spots where, you know, it looks a little blank, but I don't think there's supposed to be something there. You know, these side panels and things like that. The back here looks a little blank, but I think that's what they look like. I could be wrong. Maybe I need to reference a model, but overall, this is just incredible. I mean, this is like the coolest toy you could have ever asked for as a kid. I'm not exactly sure what scale this ends up being. I know that I believe the smaller version was 1/48 scale, so this is larger than that, and it's just really, really impressive, guys. So if you're interested in things like this, unfortunately, this is not available at the moment, but MYC is continuing to produce more models and would be happy to sell you some of their new ones. Their pre-orders go extremely quickly, so you have to be sort of right on there, ready to go right at the time. But then they give you like a good 5 minutes or so for everyone to kind of get what they want, and then a lot of times they base the edition size off of that. So there is a Lambda class shuttle coming, there is a TIE Interceptor coming, there is a Millennium Falcon coming. There's just so many cool things coming from MYC, and that's just where they're starting right now. If you want to get something like this, make sure you follow them on Facebook. That's how I've come across them, and they'd be happy to put something like this, maybe not this piece, into your collection. I'm very impressed by this. This is the first time I've seen it put together and in real life, and I really enjoyed building it with you guys, so thank you for following along. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you follow along. We have new videos like this all the time, so make sure you're subscribing, and I hope you guys liked it. I think this is incredible. Also, make sure you're following me on Instagram. It's a great place for us to connect a little bit more personally and one-on-one. I'm also posting all kinds of pre-order details and sales and all those things that I can try to help you guys build your collection and maybe save a little bit of money at the same time. Plus, we're just on there to have a good time, so there's always sharing funny things and stuff of that nature. So make sure you guys follow me on Instagram and check that out. Otherwise, make sure you're following along here because we have a ton of stuff coming, including another MYC scale model here before too long. All right, guys, see ya.